Good evening. This is the Dolores County Broadcasting Network. And this is going to be the very last show for the kids' 4-H evening news show for the year. We will start up again after Labor Day. The news at noon will continue. And other than that, I have nothing else to report from Jets camp other than its complete confusion. It is in disarray, and it's just going to be just a wonderful, wonderful Jets season. And with that, the DCTV 4-H evening news program for May 22nd, 2019. Camera people are Sativa and Cowboy. Video engineer, sound engineer, producer's Edward. Teleprompter and prompter is Dan. News anchor is Daniel Faulkner. Meteorologist Hannah, where's my iPhone, Faulkner. And this is your news director, Dan. And now the news.
Welcome to the DCTV 4-H evening news show. Help us keep our news show on the air by becoming a sponsor. You can buy a sponsorship by calling 970-677-419. That's 970-677-419. Now for the news. Hi, I am Daniel, and our first story is from the Durango Herald. 48th Annual Iron Horse Bicycle Classic. An open closed road. Cyclists have been drawn to the Iron Horse Bicycle Classic for 48 years for the purpose of testing themselves either against other professional riders or against the mighty locomotive of the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. But it was the closure of the U.S. Highway 550 in the late 1990s that helped the event gain more steam. Much like people want to come race the train, they also want to take advantage of a closed highway, said IHBC race director Gage Sippy. We cherish that closed road, covet it. We do everything we can to be good stewards of that and make sure it continues to perpetuity in its the essence of the event. Since the 90s, the 47 stretch of highway between Durango and Silverton has closed during the morning hours, the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, so that thousands of cyclists could make the trek over Shalona Hill, past Purgatory Resort, up and down Coal Bank Pass, over and down Molasses Pass, and finally into Silverton, where hundreds of eager fans await the arrival of the first finisher. Before the IHBC committee was able to obtain a permit to close the highway, racers faced a drastically different scene, with automobiles still clogging the two-lane highway. We started with 30 riders, and there wasn't as much traffic in those days, said IHBC founding president and committee chairman Ed Zink. As the number of riders increased and the number of cars increased, concerns started increasing. And so we, as the bicycling committee, continued to discuss it. A new captain of the state patrol came to this district, Captain Alan T. Brink, and he kind of looked it all over and said he thought we needed to close the road and make it safer. Singh said it took the approval of the towns of Durango, Silverton, and Ouray to make the closure happen, because all three towns are significantly affected by the closure during the busy holiday weekend. After resolutions were passed to support it, the IHBC were able to gain a permit for the road closure. Zink estimated that participation in the IHBC road race has doubled since the road closure went into effect. The fact we have been able to close the highway for the past 2 decades is probably the reason the event is still going, Sippy said. If we had to try to run the event with an open road again, it wouldn't be feasible from a lot of levels. The Colorado State Patrol charges the IHBC a fee for the excess pay troopers required to control the roadblocks and patrol the highway on motorcycles during the race. State Patrol is also key in sweeping riders off the road if they are unable to hit certain checkpoints in a fast enough time to finish the ride before the highway reopens. State Patrol Captain Adrian Driscoll said IHBC requires all hands on deck with 8 to 10 troops managing traffic on Highway 550 to Purgatory, then closing the highway entirely between Purgatory and Silverton. Troopers will be set up with cones throughout the Animas Valley to divert traffic and to keep drivers off Coal Bank and Molasses passes. Once closure hits, there are very few people who are in the event course. Driscoll said, of drivers we want to limit vehicles, most of our people are off the course. Zink said the IHBC happily pays the cost. We hire the state patrolmen and pay them an hourly rate to help manage the closure, Sippy said. They are the keeper of the keys and the landlord of the road. While we are doing the event, the permitting process goes through State Patrol and then on to Department of Transportation. It's a circuit. It travels to gain signatures before it gets back to us, but there's always tremendous support from everyone. Ned Overend has competed in every IHBC road race since 1982 and has won a men's record 5 races, now 63. Overend still remembers a time he would get caught behind traffic in those days. Cyclists would have to risk breaking some rules or sitting in traffic. The problem was, as cyclists, we were supposed to stay in our lane. Overend says you could get stuck behind a car on the decent road and be faced with trying to pass it. There was controversy of people being suspended for crossing the double yellow line. Several times you'd work so hard to get away from another rider on Molasses Pass, then you'd sit behind a car on the descent. That was tough. It was less professional having a race affected by traffic. Overend said it became important for the IHBC to gain the road closure if the IHBC was to establish as a prestigious race. You didn't want guys behind you catching up if the climbs are where the race is really decided, he said. I think it's far more relaxing now for all the riders not dealing with cars. We already are dealing with a lot just with the riders surrounding you. Cars in there, that makes it too complicated. Whether professional cyclist or one of the thousands of citizen tour riders, all who participate in the IHBC are grateful for the open route of closed road. People say it's worth the entry fee just to get to ride on those mountain passes with no automobiles and bicycles only, Zink said. Whether they are interested in competing or not, just the experience is quite unique and fulfilling. The stories from the Journal. Bear with pizza craving breaks into car near Valecinto. A bear that broke into a car early Tuesday near Valecinto Reservoir had a craving for pizza, but the Bruin lumbered away with an empty stomach. There wasn't any food in the car, said Abigail Armistead. It was an empty box. Armistead said she got home from work at the Rusty Shovel Saloon around 12:45 a.m. to find the door of her husband's car open. It was snowing, she said, and she was confused why the door of the car would be open. Armistead went inside to talk to her husband, who said he didn't leave the car door open. The couple went back outside to inspect and found big round paw prints on the door of the car and bear tracks in the snow walking away from their home. The pieces of the puzzle started to come together, she said, when they found a pizza box her husband had left in the car ripped up. It appeared the bear tried all the doors of the car to access the pizza inside. Armistead said the bear eventually figured out how to open one of the doors, she said. In similar situations, a bear that breaks into a vehicle has the capability of causing so much damage that the car can be totaled. But despite the intrusion, Armistead said the bear did not damage the vehicle. It's remarkable there was no damage, she said. We're extremely fortunate that didn't happen to us. Joe Lewandowski, a spokesman for Colorado Parks and Wildlife, said even an empty pizza box can attract the keen sense of smell of a bear. He said it's important people lock their doors and don't keep any food inside the vehicle. Lewandowski said it's also important that residents report bears that get into trouble before it's too late. If a bear is causing minor issues, we really want people to call us, because if we can respond early, our wildlife officers have more options, he said. But if people wait until a bear starts causing serious damage, like breaking into a house, we have no choice other than to euthanize. Bears generally wake from hibernation around mid-April, and wildlife officials recommend a number of actions to avoid human-bear conflicts, such as taking down bird feeders, securing trash, and sheltering livestock. Not leaving food in cars is one Armstead and her husband won't forget anytime soon. Lesson learned for sure, she said. Stories from the Journal. Yes, May snow in Cortez is rare. How wacky is this spring weather? It depends on what you measure. At least by some measures, it's off the charts loony, but by others, it's fairly conventional season. Cortez weather watcher Jim Andreas reports that the 3.5 inches of snow recorded in town coming in two waves, 2.5 inches from 9:45 to 1 p.m. Monday, and another inch from 2 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. Tuesday, amount to 3,500% normal May snowfall for Cortez. Cortez normal snowfall for the month is 0.1 inch. I don't remember snow in May in Cortez in the 20 years I've been keeping records, Andrea said. Our long-term average is 1/10 of an inch, so obviously we're having an unusual month. So far in May, Cortez has received 1.27 inches of precipitation compared with a total monthly average of 0.83 inches. So already May 2019 has received 153% of average precipitation, with 10 days still available to boost the numbers. But temperatures this spring are adhering more closely to seasonal norms, although May is shaping up to be cooler than normal. According to the National Weather Service in Grand Junction, Cortez, temperatures in March tracked at normal. April was 1.6 degrees above normal, and so far May is 1.9 degrees below normal. The spring may feel cooler than normal because of May, said Weather Service meteorologist Aaron Walter. But the Cortez March was right on normal, and April was a bit warmer than normal. The spring also might seem cooler than normal because last spring was much warmer than normal, Walter said. Last year in Cortez, average March temperatures were 0.2 degrees warmer than normal. Average April temperatures were 3.1 degrees above normal, and May temperatures were 3.5 degrees above normal. Last May, Cortez had well above average temperatures, and this May, it's well below. So in comparison, it seems really cold, but the temperatures this spring aren't really too unusual, Walter said. Andreas said May temperatures can vary more widely from year to year. May is really a battleground month between summer and winter. Summer wants to take over, but winter is going to put up a battle, he said. While this May has been cooler than average, Walter said 1 month or even 1 year of below average temperatures does not mean a whole lot in the context of climate change. Climate change isn't a linear pattern. It's complex. There is still a possibility you are going to get 1 month or even 1 year that is cooler or wetter than normal, she said. Andrea said changes to 30-year average winter precipitation in town indicate Cortez is receiving about 0.63 inches less winter precipitation. It suggests our winters are slowly getting drier, he said. While winters may be drying out in Cortez, Andreas said he welcomes this season's unusually heavy snowpack and wet May. We certainly can appreciate what it does for our local reservoirs, and we can even start refilling Lake Powell and Lake Mead, he said. The stories from the Denver Post. Over in 3 minutes. Trump meeting with Dems goes bust in flash. The curtains in the cabinet room were drawn. The Democrats were waiting. President Donald Trump came and went in all 3 minutes. On all of 3 minutes, round 2 of the president's consultations with congressional Democrats on infrastructure went bust in a flash. Prospects for passing a large infrastructure bill evaporated Wednesday as Trump announced that he won't work with Democratic lawmakers on policy while they continue to investigate them. Trump took umbrage at House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's accusation earlier in the day of him being engaged in the cover-up. He met briefly with Pelosi and State Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and other Democrats before exiting to address reporters in the Rose Garden. His message: only after the Democrats' investigations end will he work with them on infrastructure, lowering drug prices, and other matters. Speaking of the Capitol, Pelosi and Schumer suggest that Trump was looking for excuses not to take up infrastructure. He just took a pass, Pelosi, she said, and it just makes me wonder why he did that. In any event, I pray for the President of the United States and pray for the United States of America. The meeting was supposed to be a follow-up from 3 weeks ago when Trump and Democratic congressional leaders agreed to work together on a $2 trillion infrastructure package to invest in roads, bridges, and broadband. Schumer said that congressional committees had been undertaking investigations during that first meeting as well, and he still met with us, but now that he was forced to actually say how he was going to pay for it, he had a runaway. Schumer said there were obvious signs of trouble going into the meeting, with both sides being guarded about how they would pay for such an investment. The White House released a wrote Pelosi and Schumer, letting them know his preference for Congress taking up the proposed U.S. trade deal with Mexico and Canada first. Once Congress has passed USMCA, we should turn our attention to a bipartisan infrastructure package, Trump said. Congressional committees have begun holding hearings on the nation's infrastructure needs. It's one of the few issues that lawmakers from both parties have said they would like to address. Businesses and trade groups have been meeting with White House officials to emphasize the importance of shoring up the Highway Trust Fund with pays for road improvements and transit systems. Federal fuel taxes supply most of the money that goes into the trust fund, but the purchasing power of the gas tax has declined as vehicles have become more fuel efficient. Some 30 states have enacted fuel tax increases to raise money for local roads and bridges over the past 6 years, but Congress has not approved a fuel tax increase since 1993. It now stands at 18.3 cents a gallon for gasoline and 24.3 cents a gallon for diesel. The advocacy groups are trying to make the case that state politicians supporters of gas tax increases have not been punished at the ballot box. But Republican leaders in Congress have shown little enthusiasm for the price tag of the infrastructure plan, and even less for the idea of raising the federal fuel tax to help pay for upgrading the nation's infrastructure. Trump himself has suggested that Democrats are somehow setting a trap to get him to go along with the tax increase. Now for Dumb Laws with Hannah.
Our Dumb Law segment are actual laws still in the books in many states, cities, and municipalities. This means that these laws are still technically legal. Dumb laws in California cities. In Sorrentinos, all dog waste must be removed from any yard within 7 days. In Chico, it is illegal to plant any garden in any public street. Denotating a nuclear device within city limits results in a $500 fine. One must obtain a permit from the city to throw hay in a cesspool. It is illegal to own a green or smelly animal hide. Bowling on the sidewalk is illegal. Driving a herd of cattle down the street is against the law. And Dana Point, one may not use one's own restroom if the window is open. In Downey, sandboxes may not be used as ashtrays. Pinball machines are outlawed, as well as mock horse race games. Waitresses are not allowed to consume drinks bought by her customers. In Eureka, persons may not sleep on a road. One must seek written permission from the director of public works before playing baseball in a city park. Men who wear mustaches are forbidden from kissing women. In Fresno, no one may annoy a lizard in a city park. Now for the weather report. Our current weather data comes from the DCTV weather station located in the beautiful downtown Duff Creek. The current temperature is 48 degrees. The high for today was 48 degrees. The low was 32 degrees. The bubble meter is at 29.71 inches and is steady. Humidity is at 66%. Wind is between 1 and 13 miles per hour from the southwest. Gusts have been up to 31 miles per hour. There were 1,400 of an inch of moisture today in DCTV weather station. Moisture for the month is 1 inch and 43 hundredths of an inch. Moisture accumulation for the year is 7 inches and 39 hundredths. Now for the big map, courtesy of the National Weather Service. The east half of the country is experiencing rain and thunderstorms with severe thunderstorms and flooding stretching from Oklahoma into Missouri. That's Oklahoma. Here is our exclusive DCTV 5-day forecast. Thursday, rain and snow, high 46, low 33. Friday, mostly sunny, high 58, low 37. Saturday, mostly sunny, high 66, low 41. Sunday, partly sunny, high 70, low 44. And Monday, thunderstorms, high 62, low 38. Now for the snow tail report, which is the amount of snowpack in the mountains across the state. Remember that this is the percentage of the average for this time of year. Here in the Southwest, we only have 133% of normal. 330. Now for the climate change report. CO2, carbon dioxide, is considered a greenhouse gas and is one of the principal causes of climate change. CO2 traps heat in the atmosphere, which causes climate instability. This results in significant variations worldwide in moisture and hot and cold temperatures, but the general climate trend of the planet is slowly warming. Therefore, it is important that we report the CO2 weekly change. The following are the CO2 numbers in parts per million. Last week, 415.39. 2 weeks ago, 414.37. Last year, 411.84. 10 years ago, 390.10. 50 years ago, 327.34. Thank you, Dr. Peter Chance of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration and Michael McGee of the CO2.Earth Network for providing this information. Remember, you can help keep our kids' news show on air by buying a sponsorship. To become a sponsor, just call 970-677-4119. That's 970-677-4119. Thank you. Now back to our news director.
And that is the end of the DCTV 4-H Evening News for tonight. And we will see you again after Labor Day. So good night and thank you for watching.